52.
So you can't figure that out.
So I cannot figure out, did I go back when Bettina was born?
Maybe you did.
You went back a lot.
And then, no, because I was already working. That's what I cannot, I'm 51, I think. So how did I Bettina?
Are you sure Victor was born in 52? Maybe it was 51. Because he's 2 years younger than me. And I was born in 49.
So he would make him what?
He was born in 51.
I thought he was 52. What? And then what did Valerie want to know now?
Well, no, then you went, and when did you went back to New York? When did you and Mamita move into Hunts Point? Was that it?
Oh no, please, Hunts Point, that was in 1940 when we came the first time.
So when you came back to New York, from when you left Coochie and Millie and Bettine and Lita and Nelson, you came to New York that time. Who'd you live with, Mamita?
Oh yeah, yeah.
In Hunts Point.
We lived in Hunts Point, and then we moved to oh yeah. See what I'm very confused? Because we lived in Southern Boulevard, and then we moved to Hunts Point.
Okay, so that was the transition.
So tell us about life in this big city.
When I went to work in 51,
Where were you working?
I don't remember if we were still living in Southern Boulevard. I think I was in Hunts Point already. That's what I cannot understand.
But what were you doing? What kind of work were you doing?
There, I think I did. I was working in a place where they make vitamins, and I remember working in the what I was doing. When they made the labels, we used to type and translate. There was, an export department. That was the export department.
Merchandise.
Exports vitamins. And used to translate?
And we used to work, I used to work in the department where they made the translation for the labels, and they made the mailings to the doctors and whatnot. There's one the translator, one whatever, and I used to type that, and then we used to read it and proofread it and whatnot, and then the labels, we send it on the labels, and different things were made.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed for about 9 years, I remember. And I think on 59 or 60, I think it was 59, then I changed to another job. What did we do here? Oh, the company's name was Davis Roberts, and they used to have another company called Lydia O'Leary.
And what did they do?
Lydia O'Leary used to do cosmetics, but was something different, was made for people that had, it was cosmetic for people that had, some people had born with like red patches or whatever. It was waterproof cosmetics for that, to cover different things, different defects, I guess you call them.
So now when you you lived with your mother, and obviously you worked during the week.
Yeah.
What did you do evenings and weekends in New York?
I didn't do much, something. I only remember going to work.
And also your mother was working as well.
Yeah.
Did she work in the same area as you, or was
No.
she in a different... How did you get to work?
Well, we went by subway. She used to work all the way downtown.
How did you get? What
I-
subway did you take? Do you remember the stops?
Well, the first job, I used to go. I used to work around 42nd Street,
How long did it take you to get there in the mornings?
maybe 45 minutes.
Were there a lot of people in the subways?
So there are a lot of people, lots and lots of people, and they push you and whatnot. When to get in and get out, forget it. If you don't get out quick enough, they give you a push and you were out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Were you accustomed to the change in weather? I mean, Puerto Rico, it was always the same
when I
weather.
came here, the terrible was that I found out that was so cold. I couldn't get used to that, but I guess I had to get used to that. When by 51, I already knew what I had to expect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I came to stay.
What about living in the big city? What did that feel like for you?
I really don't know. But the only thing that got me was that I couldn't believe that people live in these apartments, when I was used to all this space, the whole, like we used to live in the country. We have all this space to ourselves. It was just the house, and there was nobody around, but us and whatever. I couldn't believe that people live in these apartments, one on top of the other.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, you get used to everything. After a while, you learn.
Mm-hmm.
Did you start to like it?
Well, I went back and forth. Finally, I decided, I had to be somewhere. So I decided finally to stay with my mother.
Mm-hmm.
I found out that I was better off staying with her.
Mm-hmm.
And who were your friends when you lived there?
When we lived in Hunts Point, there was some girls lived next door,
What about Evelyn and Pat?
Evelyn and Kuka. Oh, she's getting to that Kuka. She wants to get to Kuka. And then they used to come, they used to like to go dancing. And they used to come all the time. They wanted me to go. I said, I forget it. Especially they were younger than me.
Where would they go dancing?
They used to go downtown to there was a place called the Pan American Casino, all the way down, if I remember, I think it was on 43rd Street in the 40s. And I remember they used to beg me to go with them. I said, no. Finally, one day, I said, okay, I'll go with you. And we used to take a taxi all the way downtown. And sometimes
Wasn't that expensive?
Gee, but we were all working.
Uh-huh.
So, I guess it was $3 each, and we put $1, and we got downtown. No, we didn't go in the subway. No. We used to go by taxi. And then coming back, we get somebody to borrow us home. If somebody met somebody, so they will bring us home. And
Friends of yours?
no, just whoever jerk we met at the places, in the dancing places.
So you
But
would
we
meet
all-
guys
all-
and they would
all-
have cars?
We all stuck together. If you met somebody with a car, he had to take the whole package home. And that's the way we did it. And that's how I met Valerie's father.
Now, were these places that you went to, did they have music on a stereo, or did they have
No.
live bands?
They have live music.
Do you remember the bands that played?
No, not really.
Spanish?
Yeah, it was.
Puerto Rican? Or?
This one was, like I told you, when I met Erwin, was in the Pan American Casino. That used to be, before that, the famous club, American club. If I remember something about Rose.
Roseland?
No, it was a man with the last name Rose.
Billy Rose or Bobby Rose or some.
I don't remember the first name. I just remember it was a big place, was a nice place. But that was not another thing. Was that they didn't have a liquor license.
Oh, they didn't.
So they you had to bring your own liquor.
Uh-huh.
And then that was a problem because we wanted to have drinks, but then nobody wanted to buy the bottle. So who was going to do? We finally met another girl that was older and more experienced. So she used to go and get the bottle, and then we would bring it in the place. Can you imagine?
A bottle of what? What did you drink?
I don't know, some rum or I don't even remember.
Mm-hmm.
Probably some, what do you call that? Some cheap, who knows? I don't even remember the names.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that this girl used to know the names and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to send her to get the.
What did you wear when you went out?
What?
What kind of clothes did you wear?
Oh gee, we were fancy. Going out.
Heels and petticoats
Oh,
and.
yeah, very, very. We went all the rest up.
What was your favorite dress? Do you remember?
I only remember this dress that I bought at Bloomingdale's. I always bought at Bloomingdale's. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Was my store.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't like. I don't go to Bloomingdale's. It's too expensive for me. But then I used to buy in Bloomingdale's.
Now, what were you wearing? Do you remember what you were wearing when you met this Irving Berger?
I don't know really. But
What did he say to you? How did he approach you?
Well, my friend, that friend that lived next door had a friend that used to go with a lot of. That's what they wanted me to go. They were like all men together in one tape, and then we were on the other one.
All the men were on one table, all the women were on
And
another
the women,
table.
yeah, we were in front of them, you know, like.
Across from
And
them.
yeah, and that was how we met. I don't remember. I think her friend introduced me to Irving then.
And what did you think?
Well, I didn't like him from the beginning.
No, why?
I really don't know, because he was very, he was always like took care of you as soon as you sat down. He brought you the drink, you know.
And you didn't like that?
He took care of you.
No, she did.
Oh yeah, all the time. He was very, how would you say? In Spanish they say splendid. I don't know.
He was well-mannered.
That he know that he, what do you call that? Que era muy, he took care of
Gentleman.
Servicial.
you. They took care of you, you know, you sat down and he gave you your drink and whatever and talked to you or whatever, carry on.
Catered to you.
Yeah.
No, I know she's looking for a word and I can't think of it either. Yeah, it's a...
But that was I met him in 1958. And then after a while,
So this was, you had already been living in New York for about 7 years.
no, I have already, well, yeah, that's right. Because I do remember 51 and then 61, 10 years
Mm-hmm.
has passed by.
So you were 32 years old.
I met him in 58, but then we went out for a while, then we stopped going, whatever. Then I went on vacations on 61, I guess it
Where'd
was.
you go?
Get to where? To Georgia.
To visit me because
Victoria.
someone was getting married.
Who?
Was someone getting married?
No, Lida got married in 60. No, I went there for vacation just for the
Just
the
to go to Fort
summertime.
Benning.
Somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're
the
very
way I figured it out, and so when I came back from that vacation, when I came back, my mother said, that telephone, that guy had been calling every day, every day. And now he's had been waiting for you. I said, oh yeah. Oh, I went back. I figured, when I come back, I'm gonna give him up here already. He was already. And my mother comes and, oh yeah, he's calling. Good. And see, when I went to Georgia, he figured that I'm going to meet somebody there.
He was
And that's
worried.
how-
He was worried.
Yeah. And that's how, then when I came back, the same day, night, he took me out. I remember I had this white dress. We went somewhere I don't remember where, for dinner in Long Island and all that business. Since then, everything changed. Because he figured, if she's going there, she's going to meet some
officer.
Yes,
some,
there.
yeah, that's the
I'm
end of it.
And then it's when he started to think
What did he know
seriously.
about your sister and brother-in-law?
No, he didn't know anything.
Okay, he just knew that you went to visit them.
Was there
That I had gone to Georgia. He didn't know.
Oh, he didn't even know where you went.
Probably-
He said,
Probably didn't know. I don't remember that he knew when I left where I had gone or with what.
So he took you to Long Island, and that's when he started to think seriously.
Yeah.
When did he ask you to marry him?
A little after that.
Do you remember the day, the night?
No, I just remember that we went to some place and we sat at the bar, and then he said he proposed.
how did he say?
But I don't really remember the place. Could you imagine?
Well, it wasn't important. The important thing was that he asked you. But do you remember
Yeah.
how he asked you? Did he have a ring already, or did he?
No, we never had rings.
You
only-
never had
only
a ring.
the wedding ring.
Did you expect him to ask you to marry you? Was it a surprise?
It was a surprise. I was surprised. I said, oh,
Did
I-
you say yes right away? Or did you say I have to talk to my mother?
well, no. I said, well, I have to think about it for now, for a few hours. I guess I have to think it for a few hours.
And then you told
I
your
was
mother. What did your mother say?
But my mother liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the beginning, because he was very nice to my mother. He was always good to my mother
Hmm.
and very respectful.
Did you meet his family? Did you, or
Then-
not until after that?
Well, after that, then I remember he took me to his sister's house,
His sisters.
Shirley.
Hmm. Was it a nice house?
Yeah.
Where was it? In the Bronx?
Yes, in the Bronx, in the neighborhood where we used to live.
So
And
when
where-
I was saying, when he asked you to get married, and you said you thought about it for a little while, right?
Yeah.
Then how did you tell him yes? Same day, next day,
I think it was the same night.
the same night?
Yeah.
And then how long was the engagement?
I think when this was from the summer, and we got married in December, so it was not that long. Yeah,
And
something like that.
what kind of ceremony did you have?
Oh, we went to City Hall and got married there.
No big
I
wedding.
remember. No, I remember.
Who came? Who
My
came to the wedding?
My mother came with us to City Hall, and Sydney and Karen.
Sydney was your new future brother-in-law, and Karen was his wife.
His wife. And then Nelsie was home in the apartment, fixing everything.
Nelsie who?
Nelsie, my sister.
She came?
Yeah, she came from Georgia to the wedding.
She did.
Yeah. And her and my mother and Neida, yes. Neida was married then with Angel Luis.
What about
They
Lita?
got everything together with food and wine.
So you had the party at the house, at the apartment.
Yeah, in the apartment, yeah.
At your mother's
At
apartment.
my mother's apartment.
And then where did you and Irving go to live?
Then we went, for the honeymoon, we went to Mexico,
Oh, you did.
to Acapulco, Acapulco, and Mexico City.
Mm-hmm. How was that?
That was nice, but forget about drinking that water. That was something else. I remember going one day for breakfast across the street from the hotel, and I got so sick that I left the place. I left him sitting there, and I ran to the hotel until I got good thing that was across the street. And you know what happened when you drink that Mexican water. But we had this, the funny part about that part was that we had pills that we, you know, were supposed to take so you don't get the
Diarrhea.
diarrhea. But we didn't know that you had to drink it before. We used to wait until we got it and then we took the pills. But that was something, and then we took the pills. It was too late already. But anyway, I do remember until the end, my goodness, the night before we left, we went to some place near the hotel. I try to remember the name of the hotel. I think the name was Alhambra, but I don't know if that was the one in Mexico City or the one in Acapulco.
Mm-hmm.
And until the day I came back, my goodness, I was so sick.
Mm-hmm.
It was terrible. But also, they tell you not to drink the water. But then, the main part was that, see, you don't drink the water, but then if you take a drink and they put ice in it, you don't use to have, you know, that the ice is made out of that water. But that was also what got us.
As long
Not,
as
not
it's,
so bad for him, like for me.
as long as it's alcoholic, it's
I
fine.
thought I was going to die, to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That was the honeymoon.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll do honeymoon.
But we did really, I remember going a few places.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess probably was not that bad at times.
Did you fly there, or did you take a train? Or?
No, we flew.
Okay. Then you were living in where?
Then we came to live on 169th Street in the Bronx.
Uh-huh.
The house.
What, was it an apartment or a
It
house?
was a house.
Okay.
Oh, you never saw the house?
I remember an apartment house
It was like a brownstone.
with a couple of stories, and Irving owned all of it,
But that's it.
and
that's
he
it.
rented
Yeah,
some of it.
yeah. That's where we went to live there. We lived there.
But it wasn't that nice of a place.
The 61 until 68, about 7 years.
And then you moved to
Then we bought the house in Pearsall Avenue
Pearsall
in
Avenue.
68.
Okay. And that was a private but attached building.
Yeah.
Private home, 3 stories, but attached to another,
Yeah, two
Similar
houses,
house.
like 2 houses.
like twins.
Hold on, stop it. Yeah.
Okay, between the time that you, when you lived in the first place,
9th Street.
169th Street, you had first one baby named,
Larry, Lawrence, Albert Berger.
uh-huh,
How was that pregnancy? It was the first time you were pregnant?
Yeah, I didn't have a bad pregnancy. We was in with
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Only was like at the end of my pregnancy when I went into the, what was that, the 8th or the 9th month. I did get the sugar in the blood. And Larry they had to induce what do you call that?
Delivery or?
Delivery 3 weeks before.
Mm.
Before he was supposed to be born on January 1st around there, and he was born on December 13th.
1962.
Because according to what the doctor said at the time, was that if I waited,
You would interrupt his golf trip.
yeah, probably that was it. He said no, that I waited, that the baby might die, inside of me, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which probably was like you said. So he induced delivery, whatever. And that was, what was then? Millie's wedding. I couldn't go to Millie's wedding because of Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when Larry was born.
I see.
Then you turned around 2 months later, and what happened?
2 months later.
Were you pregnant again?
Oh, that probably, yes. Could you imagine I got pregnant again? And then here I had a baby and another one coming. Could you imagine?
Wow. Who took care of the baby? Just yourself or anyone else?
No. I was still working.
Oh, you were working?
A lady that took care of, we had a, what do you call it, a maid,
Mm-hmm.
a woman that used to live with us.
What was her name?
Her name was Melba,
Mm-hmm.
and she used to take care of the baby
She lived with you?
and the house. Huh?
She lived with you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
She had a room in your house?
No, she used to go home every day.
Oh, okay. But did she
But-
live
but
nearby?
Like I said, when I was working, but then I had maternity leave. But she used to come every day. Not every day. I think she used to have Tuesdays off during the week.
And then didn't this
On
job
Sunday.
didn't this job used to want you to work so badly they would send a car to pick you up every day and take you home?
They kept calling me. They were waiting for me for the 3 months or whatever so I can go back to work.
What was the name of that company?
But that was the one in 59th Street. That was the one with Lydia O'Leary, Davis Roberts. They were also exporter, one,
Import Exports?
yeah. And I used to work also in the export department. Used to take care of what was that? I guess it was the inventories
Mm-hmm.
that they used to send, how much they sold, some reports there. I don't really remember.
So when you had
But because we used to make like when the shipments, we had to take care of the documents,
Mm-hmm.
the shipping documents. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were still on maternity leave when you got pregnant with your second child, but you didn't know yet.
Well,
You were on maternity leave for how long? 3 months?
I think so.
Right, so you were 2 months. You were pregnant when you were on maternity leave. Did you go back to work when you were pregnant with the second?
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh, you're very liberated.
Until what was that? Until I really don't remember how late. I know that for Larry, I stood until the last minute, almost.
And all this time your mother still lived in the Bronx, nearby.
Yeah.
And
That's fine.
and she would visit you with
Oh,
the
yeah,
children?
She used
However,
to come
she
over.
worked as well.
Yeah, she was working also.
And you said she had to travel on subway every day to.
She used to work on 14th Street.
Oh.
She worked until 19...
In Manhattan on 14th Street.
She worked until 1967.
Okay.
That the same year that Mary Ellen was born.
And she worked as a seamstress.
Seamstress, yeah.
And she belonged to the what was the name of the union?
Garment. Union or something.
The International Garment Workers Union.
Yeah, yeah.
When did you stop working?
Me? I think I stopped working after Mary was born. After Mary was born, also they kept calling me. They wanted me to go back, and I did go for a while, but after a while probably they got somebody else finally. Because I don't remember when I quit.
Well, when we had Mary, and then we were moving. Then you moved to the other house in the Bronx, right?
No,
A year later.
Mary was about a year or so already when I moved to the other house. Then when I moved to Pearsall Avenue, I was not working anymore. That I do remember.
Mm-hmm.
I had already quit the job.
But you were working with Dad, right?
Because when we moved to, I remember that the girl quit then when we moved.
What girl?
The one that used to work for Irving.
Secretary?
Yeah.
Bookkeeper?
What was her name?
Oh, Celia. I remember Celia Kaplan. And she didn't want to stay there because there was nobody upstairs. It was just alone in the first floor, and she didn't like that. So she quit. I think we moved in November of '68, and on '69, I think she had already quit.
In other words, this building that you lived in, the bottom floor was your husband's office,
Yeah,
and you occupied the upper floors.
yeah.
And then you moved to your
The Pearsall.
Pearsall Avenue home. And as I understand, your husband still worked at that other building for a long time, and something happened to him there. What happened?
Oh, I remember on '69. I remember they came.
1969?
I think it was '69. That somebody came to the door, a woman, and telling her that her mother had a house and they wanted some work done, and Irving opened the door.
This was in the office.
Yeah, and she opened the door, and 3 men came in with guns, and they wanted the money, because they, at the time, they used to pay cash. The men with cash, Irving would go to the bank and pull out the cash and pay the men in cash. So I guess somebody knew, and they just so happened that Irving had already given, I guess, paid some of the men or whatever. There was not enough cash laying around anyway. Or there was no cash, I don't really remember, because I don't think they got anything. There was nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
And they say they have to be, and they kept hitting him with the gun.
Where did they hit
And
him?
then they hung him from the ceiling somewhere in the back.
They hung him by what? By his arms?
By the
Wrists?
wrist. And he was there, and he
Was his feet on the floor?
No, his feet were hanging. But you know him,
He was very strong.
was
Extremely
very
strong.
And he only worried that Sidney might come in.
He was worried that his little brother
The
would
brother
come in?
would come in, because Sidney used to, it was the day, I guess, he used to come in, and he might walk into this, and that they might kill him or whatever.
Oh, so they were still questioning him and
Yeah, and they-
asking him for money as he hung there.
Yeah.
Could you sit a little bit this way? Is she all right? She's free.
Oh. But finally he did lose himself from, got loose.
After they left.
After they left, yeah, he managed by kicking and whatever to loosen himself. And just as soon as he come down, whatever, guess who comes in?
Sydney?
Sydney.
And what did he say?
Well, I don't know. I guess they talk, whatever. But all is worried. And Sydney didn't come, but he didn't come in later. Could you imagine?
He could have walked in on them, and
Yeah,
that would have
yeah.
been pretty
It
nasty.
would have been worse.
And I remember when Dad came home that day, his eyes were all bloodshot.
You remember?
Yes.
I remember that he came with Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
That I couldn't believe it. Could you imagine?
And the police came.
I guess he called the police because they were in this 169 and I was at the other end. I didn't know anything about it until he came home.
Okay. Okay. So, your kids were growing up, and
Well, Larry went to first grade, I think was, no, Larry went to, 169, Larry went to kindergarten there. Valerie, I think, went to pre-kindergarten, I don't remember really. Because I know when we moved to Pearsall Avenue, then Larry went to first grade there, and Valerie went to kindergarten on Pearsall Avenue when we moved.
mhm.
That's where they went to school.
And that was a nice school.
A very good school.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I don't know. And that's where they all grew up there.
Do you remember any other unusual events, special events that happened in your life that you would like to tell us about?
See, like that, I don't remember. Well, in Pearsall Avenue, nothing really happened, nothing like that.
Mhm.
Well, Marty.
Oh, at the marriage, that was in 1983.
What happened?
He went to working. He was with the men. He used to go out, take the men out to work. And they're working in this roof, and I think it was in Queens.
In other words, the business that he was in, which was the roofing business,
Yeah.
he worked with his
Bro,
next brother, who was named
Martin.
Martin.
Yeah.
Marty. They called him Marty.
And he went that day to work, and for some reason he said that they said that the men went to lunch and came back late. They took extra time, and he was kind of mad at them, whatever. But anyway, according to Urban, they were supposed to, when they finished making the roof, they were supposed to leave like it's 2 rolls not done, and then they used to bring everything down and then go back and finish some reason. I don't remember exactly, but this day Mary used to take like shortcuts. That was the way it's supposed to be done. And they used to send the material that was left over through some thing that comes down with ropes.
Scaffold.
No, they don't call it scaffold. Derrick, I think they used to call it derrick, whatever. Down. And but they're supposed to take everything down and then go back and finish. But this day he decided, but he used to take shortcut, not this day, I don't know how many shortcuts he took. This day they started to send the things down, and then he put this man to hold on the derrick in the back. I don't really know how it works. They finished the whole thing. See, they didn't do the way it was supposed to be. They finished the whole thing, and then he puts the man to hold the derrick while they took the extra material down. And his son Bruce had gone down with the other man. He was working with him then. Went down, and this guy was supposed to hold this by sitting on it.
And Marty was on it.
And then he got up, and the derrick went over with the material. And I guess since his son Bruce was downstairs, he figured it was going to cut him. So he tried to grab the thing, and the thing, flip him over. The derrick, whatever they call it, instead of flipping the material, flip him over. And that was the end of Marty.
He landed on his head or on his legs?
No, I guess he landed flat on the
Did that change? Did that change your life? The death of Marty? Change everybody's life?
Yes, of course. Yeah. It was terrible. It was a terrible thing.
What happened to the business?
Especially for the while, well, close the business because we had to figure out what we were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then after a while, then Bruce and Robert decided they were going to go in.
Okay, hold on.